David Chen stepped out of his black luxury car and looked up at his mansion. The house was huge, with tall windows and white columns that made it look like something from a movie. But as he walked through the front door, the silence hit him like a wall. This house never felt like home anymore. 2 years had passed since his wife died in that terrible car accident. 2 long years of trying to figure out how to be both a father and a mother to his 8-year-old daughter, Lily. David was good at many things. He could close million-dollar deals over lunch. He could speak to thousands of people without breaking a sweat. But when it came to braiding his daughter's hair or knowing what to pack for her school lunch, he felt completely lost. "Daddy's home!" he called out, but there was no excited running footsteps like there used to be. Instead, he found Lily sitting quietly in the living room, coloring in a book. She looked up and gave him a small smile, but it wasn't the bright, happy smile he remembered from before her mother died. "Hey, Princess," David said, sitting down next to her. "What are you drawing?" "Just flowers," Lily said softly, not looking up from her coloring book. "Maria helped me pick the colors." Maria. David felt a little guilty that he had to think for a moment about who that was. Maria Rodriguez was their housekeeper. She had been working for them for 3 years now, ever since Lily was 5. David knew she was reliable and good at her job. But beyond that, he didn't really pay much attention to what she did around the house. "That's nice, sweetheart," David said. But he could tell Lily was already focused back on her coloring. He wanted to say more, to connect with her somehow, but he didn't know how. Every conversation felt awkward, like they were strangers living in the same house. Later that evening, David was in his home office when his phone rang. It was his business partner and old friend, Robert. "Dave, we need to talk," Robert said without any greeting. "I'm worried about you, man, and I'm worried about Lily." David leaned back in his chair. "What do you mean?" "Come on, you know what. I mean, you've been struggling for 2 years now. The kid barely speaks at family gatherings. You look exhausted all the time. You need help. And I don't mean another nanny or babysitter." "I'm doing fine," David said, but even he didn't believe it. "No, you're not, and that's okay. Nobody expects you to handle everything alone, but Lily needs stability. She needs a mother figure in her life." David was quiet for a long moment. He had thought about this before, but it always felt wrong somehow. Like he was betraying his wife's memory. "I know what you're thinking," Robert continued. "But your wife would want Lily to be happy. She'd want you both to move forward." After hanging up, David sat in his office for hours thinking. Maybe Robert was right. Maybe it was time to seriously consider finding someone to share his life with. Someone who could be a good mother to Lily. The next few days, David found himself really watching his daughter for the first time in months. What he saw worried him. Lily was polite and quiet, but she seemed sad all the time. She spent most of her time alone, reading or coloring. She didn't laugh much anymore. She didn't ask for friends to come over. She was like a little ghost moving through their big house. But then David started noticing something else. Every morning, when he came down for breakfast, Lily's hair was perfectly braided. Her school uniform was clean and pressed. Her lunch was packed in her favorite pink lunchbox. At first, David assumed it was just good organization, but then he realized he had never arranged any of these things. One morning, he got up earlier than usual and quietly walked toward the kitchen. He could hear voices, Lily talking and laughing. Actually laughing. David stopped at the kitchen doorway and watched through the crack. Maria was standing at the counter making Lily's lunch, and Lily was sitting at the kitchen table, chattering away about something that happened at school yesterday. Maria was listening and asking questions, nodding and smiling. She was speaking to Lily in both English and Spanish, and somehow Lily seemed to understand both. And then Tommy said his mom makes the best cookies, but I told him nobody makes cookies. Like you do, Maria, Lily was saying. Oh, mija, you are too sweet, Maria replied, using a Spanish word that David didn't understand but that made Lily smile. But you know what? Maybe this weekend we can make cookies together. You can learn my secret recipe. Really? Can we make the ones with the chocolate chips and the little bit of salt on top? Of course! Those are your favorites. David felt something strange in his chest as he watched this interaction. When was the last time he had seen Lily this animated? When was the last time she had talked to him about her day at school with such excitement? He quietly backed away from the kitchen, not wanting to interrupt this moment. But the scene stayed with him all day. At work, during meetings, driving home, he couldn't stop thinking about how happy Lily had looked. That evening, David's sister called him. Jennifer had been checking on him regularly since his wife died, and she never hesitated to give him advice whether he wanted it or not. David, I'm going to say something and you're not going to like it, she started. When do I ever like what? You have to say? David joked, but he was bracing himself. You need to get married again. Jen, we've talked about this. No, listen to me. I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about Lily. That little girl needs a mother. She's growing up, and there are things she's going to need that you just can't provide. David sighed. I know. Robert said the same thing. But it's not that simple. Actually, it is that simple. You just have to be smart about it. Find someone who's good for Lily, not just someone who looks good at your business dinners. After Jennifer hung up, David made a decision. He was going to find a wife, not for himself, but for Lily. Someone educated, accomplished, and kind. Someone who would be a good role model for his daughter. He started making phone calls. He talked to friends, colleagues, even hired a high-end matchmaking service. Within 2 weeks, he had a list of potential candidates. All successful women. All beautiful. All from good families. There was Victoria Kim, a former fashion model who now owned art galleries in 3 cities. There was Amanda Foster, a successful lawyer who had written books about women's rights. There was Isabella Martinez, a doctor, who volunteered with children's charities. There was Christine Williams, a business executive who spoke 5 languages. And there was Natasha Petrov, a former Olympic swimmer who now ran a sports foundation. David decided to invite all 5 women to dinner at his house. That way, Lily could meet them in a comfortable environment, and he could see how they interacted with her. After all, this decision wasn't really about him. It was about finding someone who would be good for Lily. He spent a week planning the dinner party. He hired the best catering company in the city. He had flowers delivered from the most expensive florist. He even bought a new suit. Everything had to be perfect. The night before the dinner, David sat Lily down to explain what was going to happen. Princess, tomorrow night we're going to have some special guests over for dinner, he began carefully. Lily looked up from her homework. Who? Well, some very nice ladies who I thought you might like to meet. I was thinking that maybe one of them could become part of our family. Lily tilted her head, confused. Like Aunt Jennifer? No, sweetheart. Like a new mom. The room went very quiet. Lily stared at her father for a long moment, then looked down at her math worksheet. Do I have to? She asked quietly. Have to what? Have to pick a new mom? David felt his heart break a little. No, princess. You don't have to do anything you don't want to do. But I thought it might be nice for you to have someone to talk to. Someone who understands girl things better than Daddy does. Lily nodded slowly, but she didn't look excited. She looked worried. Will you be there too? She asked. Of course. We'll all have dinner together and you can just be yourself. If you don't like any of them, that's okay too. That night, David couldn't sleep. He kept wondering if he was doing the right thing. Maybe Lily was too young for this. Maybe he was being selfish. Maybe he should wait a few more years. But then he thought about how quiet and sad Lily had become. How she never seemed truly happy anymore except for those brief moments he had glimpsed with Maria in the kitchen. Maybe she really did need a mother figure in her life. The next morning, the house was buzzing with activity. The catering staff arrived early to set up. Flowers were arranged in every room. The dining room table was set with the finest china and crystal glasses. Everything looked perfect. David found Lily in her room, sitting on her bed in her pajamas even though it was almost noon. Hey, princess, don't you want to get dressed? Our guests will be here in a few hours. I guess, Lily said without much enthusiasm. Are you nervous? Lily shrugged. A little. It's going to be fine. These are all very nice ladies. They're excited to meet you. Daddy? Yes? What if I don't like any of them? David sat down on the bed next to her. Then we'll figure something else out. This isn't about what I want, Lily. It's about what's best for you. Lily seemed to think about this for a moment. Then she asked, What if they don't like me? That's impossible, David said, pulling her into a hug. You're the most lovable little girl in the world. Anyone would be lucky to be your mom. As David left Lily's room, he passed Maria in the hallway. She was carrying fresh towels to the guest bathroom. Everything looks beautiful, Mr. Chen, she said with a polite smile. I hope you have a wonderful evening. Thank you, Maria. You can take the evening off once the guests arrive. I'm sure you'd rather be home with your own family. Something flickered across Maria's face, but she just nodded. Of course, sir. I'll finish preparing the guest rooms and then I'll go. As David walked away, he didn't see Maria pause outside Lily's door or notice the concerned look on her face. He was too busy thinking about the evening ahead and hoping he was making the right choice for his daughter. The stage was set. 5 accomplished women were coming to meet his daughter. By the end of the evening, maybe they would have found the missing piece of their family. Maybe Lily would finally have the mother she needed, and maybe David would finally feel like he wasn't failing as a parent. He had no idea that the most important lesson of his life was about to come from the wisdom of an 8-year-old girl. The doorbell rang at exactly 7 o'clock. David adjusted his tie one last time and walked to the front door, his heart beating faster than he expected. This was it. Tonight would change everything for him and Lily. Victoria Kim was the first to arrive. She stepped out of her silver sports car looking like she had just walked off a magazine cover. Her black dress was elegant and expensive, and her smile was perfect. She carried a small gift bag with designer ribbons. "David, what a beautiful home," she said, giving him a polite kiss on both cheeks. "I'm so excited to meet your daughter." "She's a little shy," David warned as he led Victoria into the living room. "Lily, come meet Victoria." Lily appeared at the top of the stairs wearing her best dress, a blue one with white flowers that Maria had helped her pick out. She walked down slowly, holding the railing. "Hello, Lily," Victoria said with a bright smile. "I brought you something special." She handed Lily the gift bag. Inside was an expensive art set with professional brushes and paints. "Thank you," Lily said quietly, looking at the art supplies. "They're very nice. I thought we could paint together sometime. I own several art galleries, you know. Maybe I could teach you about famous artists." Lily nodded politely but didn't say anything else. She clutched the art set but didn't seem excited about it. The doorbell rang again. Amanda Foster arrived in a black town car, dressed in a sophisticated gray suit. She was a successful lawyer with confident handshake and intelligent eyes. "You must be Lily," Amanda said, crouching down to Lily's level. "Your father has told me so much about you. I brought you some books I thought you might enjoy." She handed Lily a bag filled with advanced chapter books about strong female characters. "I love reading," Lily said, and for the first time that evening she seemed a little interested. "Wonderful. I believe education is the most important gift we can give. Children, maybe we could start a book club together." Before Lily could respond, two more cars pulled up. Isabella Martinez and Christine Williams arrived at the same time. Isabella was a pediatric doctor with warm brown eyes and a gentle voice. Christine was a business executive who spoke with confidence and carried herself like someone used to being in charge. "Hello, sweetheart," Isabella said to Lily. "I work with children every day, and I can tell you're very special." She gave Lily a stuffed animal, a soft brown teddy bear. Christine shook Lily's hand like she was meeting an important business partner. "It's a pleasure to meet you, Lily. I brought you this." She handed Lily a tablet loaded with educational games and language learning apps. The final guest arrived just as they were all settling in the living room. Natasha Petrov came in wearing a flowing dress that showed off her athletic build. Her blonde hair was pulled back in an elegant ponytail, and she moved with the grace of someone who had spent years as a professional athlete. "Sorry, I'm a little late," Natasha said with a slight accent. "Traffic was terrible." She turned to Lily with a warm smile. "And you must be the famous Lily I've heard so much about." She handed Lily a gift bag containing swimming goggles and a book about Olympic champions. "Do you like to swim?" she asked Lily. "I don't really know how," Lily admitted. "Well, maybe I could teach you. Swimming is like flying underwater. It's magical." David watched these interactions carefully. All 5 women seemed nice enough. They were all successful, intelligent, and attractive. On paper, any one of them would make a good stepmother for Lily. But something felt off. He couldn't put his finger on what it was. "Shall we go in for dinner?" David suggested. The dining room looked like something from a fancy restaurant. Candles flickered on the table, and the crystal glasses sparkled in the light. The catering. Staff had prepared an incredible meal: soup, salad, perfectly cooked steaks, and vegetables that looked like tiny works of art. Lily sat between David and Victoria, looking small in the big dining room chair. David noticed that she kept looking toward the kitchen, where he could see Maria quietly directing the catering staff. "So, Lily," Victoria said as they started eating, "what do you like to do for fun?" "I like to color and read," Lily said softly. "Oh, coloring is nice, but wait until you try real painting. We could visit my galleries in New York and Paris. You could see original paintings by famous artists." Amanda leaned forward. "And think about all the books you could read. I have connections at the best private schools. You could be reading at a high school level by the time you're 10. "That's wonderful," Isabella added. "But we also need to make sure you're healthy and strong. I could make sure you get the best medical care, regular checkups, the finest doctors." Christine nodded approvingly. "And with the right education and health foundation, there's no limit to what you could achieve." I could teach you about business, about leadership. By the time you're in college, you could already have internships lined up. Natasha smiled. But don't forget to have fun. We could travel the world together. I could show you places where I competed. Tokyo, London, Sydney. We could go skiing in Switzerland or swimming with dolphins in Australia. David watched Lily's face as each woman spoke. She was listening politely, but she looked overwhelmed. These were amazing opportunities, but they seemed to be talking about changing her entire life rather than joining the life she already had. What do you think, Princess? David asked gently. Do any of these ideas sound interesting to you? Lily looked around the table at all the expectant faces. They all sound very nice, she said quietly. Just nice? Victoria laughed. Lily, we're talking about adventures most children only dream about. I know, Lily said, but she didn't sound excited. She looked down at her plate and pushed her vegetables around with her fork. Just then, there was a small crash from the kitchen. One of the catering staff had dropped a tray of dessert plates. David started to get up, but Maria was already there, cleaning up the mess and calming the flustered server. Don't worry about it, David heard Maria say in her gentle voice. These things happen. We have plenty more plates. Lily's head turned toward the kitchen sound, and David saw her face change. For just a moment, she looked like she wanted to go help Maria. Is everything all right? Amanda asked, following Lily's gaze. Just a small accident in the kitchen, David explained. Nothing to worry about. As they continued eating, each woman tried to connect with Lily in their own way. Victoria talked about art and beauty. Amanda discussed books and learning. Isabella asked about Lily's health and what she liked to eat. Christine wanted to know about her favorite subjects in school. Natasha shared stories about her Olympic experiences. But David noticed that Lily's answers got shorter and shorter. She was being polite, but she wasn't engaging. When Victoria asked if she'd like to go shopping for art supplies, Lily just nodded. When Amanda suggested they read a book together that weekend, Lily said, okay, without enthusiasm. When Isabella offered to take her to see where she worked at the hospital, Lily just said, that sounds nice. During the main course, there was another small incident. Lily accidentally knocked over her water glass and water spilled across her end of the table. She looked mortified. Oh no, she whispered, her eyes filling with tears. It's okay, sweetheart, Isabella said quickly. Accidents happen. But before anyone else could react, Maria appeared with towels and a warm, reassuring smile. No problem, mija, she said softly, quickly cleaning up the spill. This happens to me all the time. Don't worry about it. She gently patted Lily's shoulder and whispered something in Spanish that made Lily relax. What did she say? Christine asked curiously. Lily looked up shyly. She said that water just wanted to dance on the table, and now it's happy because we're all here together. The women around the table smiled politely, but David could see they thought it was a silly thing to say. Only Lily seemed comforted by Maria's words. After Maria disappeared back into the kitchen, Natasha tried to restart the conversation. So, Lily, if you could go anywhere in the world, where would it be? Lily thought for a moment. I don't know. I like it here. But surely there's somewhere exciting you'd like to visit, Victoria pressed. Paris? Rome? Tokyo? Maybe, Lily said, but she didn't sound convinced. What about activities? Amanda asked. Would you like to try horseback riding, tennis lessons, ballet? I already take piano lessons, Lily said. Oh, that's wonderful, Christine exclaimed. Music is very important for brain development. We could get you the best piano teacher in the city. Maybe you could perform at Carnegie Hall someday." David saw Lily's eyes widen with something that looked like worry rather than excitement. "I like my piano teacher now," Lily said quietly. "Mrs. Peterson is very nice." "Well, of course," Victoria said with a laugh. "But imagine what you could accomplish with a world-class instructor." As the evening continued, David began to feel uneasy. These women were all wonderful, but their conversations with Lily felt more like job interviews than getting to know a child. They were offering her opportunities and experiences, but they weren't really asking what she wanted or what made her happy. During dessert, Lily barely touched her chocolate cake. She kept looking toward the kitchen, and David realized she was watching Maria, who was quietly supervising the cleanup while the catering staff worked around her. "Are you feeling okay, Princess?" David asked. "I'm just tired," Lily said, but David could tell there was more to it than that. As the evening wound down and the women prepared to leave, each one made sure to say goodbye to Lily personally. "I had such a wonderful time meeting you," Victoria said, giving Lily a gentle hug. "I hope we can spend more time together soon." "Maybe next time we can talk about books," Amanda added. "I'd love to show you my office," Christine said. "And don't forget about those swimming lessons," Natasha called out as she headed to her car. Isabella was the last to leave. She knelt down in front of Lily and spoke softly. "You know, sweetie, making new friends can be scary sometimes, but I want you to know that I really enjoyed talking with you tonight." After all the guests had left, David and Lily stood in the quiet foyer. The house felt very big and very empty after all the conversation and laughter. "So," David said, trying to sound casual, "what did you think?" Lily looked up at him with serious eyes. "They were all very nice, Daddy. But I don't know them very well yet." David nodded. That was fair. "Would you like to get to know any of them better?" Lily was quiet for a long moment, thinking. "Can I tell you something?" "Of course, Princess. You can tell me anything. When I spilled the water and Maria came to help, that felt like when Mommy used to take care of me when I made mistakes." David felt something tighten in his chest. "What do you mean?" "Mommy never made me feel bad when I did something wrong. She just fixed it and made it better, like Maria did tonight." Before David could respond, Maria appeared in the doorway. "Excuse me, Mr. Chen, but the catering staff is finished. Is it okay if I lock up and head home?" "Of course, Maria. Thank you for everything tonight. You did a great job." Maria smiled and started to leave, but Lily called out to her. "Maria, thank you for helping me with the water." Maria's face softened. "Of course, Mija. Sweet dreams." As Maria left, David looked down at his daughter and realized the evening hadn't gone exactly as he had planned. But maybe that was okay. Maybe the most important insights were still to come. The next morning, David woke up earlier than usual. He had barely slept, thinking about the dinner party and trying to figure out what Lily really thought about the 5 women. He found her in the kitchen, already dressed for school, quietly, eating cereal while Maria packed her lunch. "Good morning, Mija," Maria was saying softly. "Don't forget you have that spelling test today. Do you want me to quiz you one more time?" "Can we do it in the car?" Lily asked. "I'm still worried about the word beautiful. I keep wanting to spell it wrong." "Of course. We'll practice until you feel confident." David watched from the doorway as Maria handed Lily her lunchbox. It was the same pink one with butterflies that Lily had picked out 2 years ago, but Maria had packed it perfectly. sandwich cut into triangles the way Lily liked, apple slices in a small container so they wouldn't get brown, and a little note that David couldn't read from where he stood. "What's the note say?" David asked, stepping into the kitchen. Lily held it up with a smile. "It says, 'You're going to do great today, and I'm proud of you no matter what.'" "That's nice," David said, pouring himself coffee. "Maria, you don't have to write notes every day." "I know, Mr. Chen. I just like to." Maria's voice was gentle. "It's no trouble." After Maria left to drive Lily to school, David sat alone in his big house, thinking. All 5 women from last night had already texted him. Victoria wanted to know when she could take Lily art shopping. Amanda had sent a list of advanced books she thought would be perfect for Lily. Isabella offered to schedule a fun visit to her pediatric clinic. Christine had attached brochures for exclusive summer camps. Natasha wanted to plan a weekend trip to her swimming facility. They were all wonderful offers, but something felt wrong. David couldn't shake the image of Lily's face last night, polite but distant, like she was meeting strangers who wanted to redesign her entire life. Around noon, David's phone rang. It was the school. "Mr. Chen? This is Mrs. Thompson, Lily's teacher. Everything is fine, but Lily seems a little upset today. She's not sick, but she's been very quiet, and she didn't eat her lunch. Is everything all right at home?" David felt his stomach drop. "We had some guests over last night. Maybe she's just tired." Would it be possible for someone to pick her up a little early today? Sometimes when children are overwhelmed, a quiet afternoon at home helps. "Of course. I'll be right there." But as David was getting ready to leave, he realized he had back-to-back meetings all afternoon. Important ones he couldn't cancel. He was about to call his assistant to reschedule everything when he remembered that Maria usually picked Lily up on Fridays anyway. David called Maria's cell phone. "Maria, the school called. Lily seems upset about something. Could you pick her up early and stay with her this afternoon? I have meetings I can't get out of." "Of course, Mr. Chen. I'll go right now." 3 hours later, David came home to find Lily and Maria in the living room. They were sitting on the floor with photo albums spread around them. Lily was curled up next to Maria, and they were looking at pictures together. "Hey, Princess," David said softly. "Feeling better?" Lily looked up with red eyes. She had obviously been crying. "Mrs. Thompson said you had a rough day at school." "I failed my spelling test," Lily said quietly. "Oh, sweetheart, that's okay. One test doesn't matter." "But I studied so hard, and Maria helped me practice. I just couldn't remember how to spell anything when I was sitting there." David sat down on the couch near them. "What were you and Maria looking at?" "Pictures of Mommy," Lily said. "Maria was telling me stories about her." David was surprised. "Stories? What kind of stories?" Maria looked a little embarrassed. "I hope it's okay, Mr. Chen. Lily asked me about her mother yesterday, and I realized I have many memories of Mrs. Chen that Lily has never heard." "Like what?" "Like how your wife used to sing while she cooked dinner," Maria said gently. "And how she always insisted on making Lily's birthday cakes from scratch, even when they turned out lopsided. And how she would dance in the kitchen when her favorite songs came on the radio." Lily smiled through her tears. "Maria said Mommy used to practice Spanish with her so she could teach me some words." David felt something catch in his throat. He had forgotten about Sarah's attempts to learn Spanish. She had wanted Lily to grow up bilingual. "Mommy wanted me to know about different cultures," Lily continued. "Maria has been teaching me about Honduras, where she's from. Did you know they have beautiful butterflies there? And mountains that touch the clouds? David looked at Maria with new eyes. You've been teaching her about your home? Only when she asks, Maria said quickly. She's very curious about the world. Maria showed me pictures of her own children, Lily said. She has a daughter who's 12 and a son who's 10. They live with their grandmother in Honduras. David was shocked. In 3 years, he had never asked Maria about her own family. You have children? He asked. Maria nodded. Yes, sir. I send money home to them every month. I haven't seen them in 2 years, but we video call every Sunday. That must be very hard, David said, and he meant it. It is, Maria admitted. But I want them to have good opportunities. The money I earn here helps pay for their school and their grandmother's medicine. Lily looked up at her father. Daddy, isn't that sad? Maria takes care of me every day, but she can't take care of her own children. David felt ashamed that he had never thought about this before. Maria, David said carefully, can I ask you something personal? Why do you write those notes for Lily's lunchbox? Maria was quiet for a moment. When I was little, my mother used to put notes in my school bag. Just little things like, I love you, or have a good day. It made me feel like she was with me even when we were apart. I wanted Lily to have that feeling too. And you help her with homework? She asks me questions sometimes when you're working late. I don't have much education, but I try to help however I can. What about bedtime stories? Lily answered before Maria could. Maria knows the best stories, Daddy. She tells me about her grandmother who could predict the weather by watching birds, and about the time she and her brother found a baby owl and took care of it until it could fly again. David realized he had been living in the same house as these interactions for months and had completely missed them. Lily, David said gently, yesterday was a big day. All those ladies who came to dinner, they're all very successful, very smart women. They could give you amazing opportunities. What did you think of them? Lily was quiet for a long time, thinking. They were all really nice, Daddy, and they know about important things. But when I spilled the water last night, I felt really embarrassed. Like maybe they would think I was clumsy or stupid. I'm sure they didn't think that. Maybe not. But when Maria helped me clean it up, she made me feel like it was okay to make mistakes. Like I was still a good person even if I spilled something. David felt his heart squeeze. Of course you're a good person, Princess. I know you think so. And Maria thinks so. But those ladies last night, they kept talking about all the things I could become and all the places I could go. They didn't seem very interested in who I am right now. Maria shifted uncomfortably. Lily, those women have had amazing experiences. They could teach you so much. I know, Lily said. But Maria, you teach me things too. You taught me how to braid friendship bracelets, and how to say prayers in Spanish, and how to make cookies that taste like hugs. David watched Maria's face soften at these words. And, Lily continued, when I have bad dreams about Mommy, you sit with me until I fall back asleep, and you never make me feel like I'm being a baby. You're not a baby, Maria said gently. You're a little girl who misses her mother. That's normal. David realized he had never known that Lily was still having nightmares. He felt like the worst father in the world. Lily, he said carefully, if you could choose anyone in the whole world to be your new mom, who would you choose? Lily looked at him with serious eyes. Do I have to choose one of those ladies from last night? No, Princess. You don't have to choose anyone you don't want to. Lily was quiet for a very long time. She looked at the photo albums spread around them, then at Maria, then back at her father. Daddy, can I tell you something that might make you mad? You could never make me mad, sweetheart. What is it? I already have someone I want to be my mom. David's heart stopped. You do? Lily nodded slowly. I want Maria to be my mom. The room went completely silent. David stared at his daughter, not sure he had heard correctly. Maria looked shocked and a little scared. Lily, Maria started to say. I know she's not rich like those other ladies, Lily said quickly, looking at her father. And she doesn't know about art galleries or fancy schools. But she knows me, Daddy. She knows that I like my sandwiches cut in triangles, and that I'm scared of thunderstorms, and that I still sleep with Mr. Bear even though I'm 8 years old. David felt like he couldn't breathe. She knows that I miss Mommy every day, but she doesn't try to make me stop missing her. She just helps me remember the good things. And she never makes me feel like I need to be different or better or smarter than I am. Maria had tears in her eyes. Mija, your father needs someone who can give you opportunities, someone who belongs in his world. But you do belong in our world, Lily said, confused. You're already part of our family. You take care of our house and you take care of me. You know where everything goes and you remember all my favorite things. Isn't that what moms do? David looked at Maria, really looked at her, for the first time in 3 years. He saw a woman who had been quietly loving his daughter while he was too busy and too grief-stricken to notice. A woman who had sacrificed time with her own children to care for his child. A woman who had kept his wife's memory alive in ways he never could have managed. Maria, David said quietly, what do you think about what Lily just said? Maria wiped her eyes. Mr. Chen, I love Lily very much. She's like my own daughter, but you and we're from very different worlds. I'm just a housekeeper. No, you're not, Lily said firmly. You're Maria, and you're the person who makes our house feel like home. David realized his 8-year-old daughter had just taught him the most important lesson of his life. All this time, he had been looking for someone to fill a role in their lives, when what they really needed was someone who already loved them, exactly as they were. Lily, he said softly, are you sure this is what you want? I'm sure, Daddy. I've been sure for a long time. I just didn't know I was allowed to say it. David looked at Maria, who was crying quietly. Maria, what Lily is saying, how do you feel about it? I feel like the luckiest woman in the world, Maria whispered. But I also feel scared. Your friends, your business partners, your family, what will they think? I don't care what they think, David said, and he realized he meant it. The only thing that matters is what's best for Lily, and Lily has just told us exactly what that is. The three of them sat in the living room surrounded by photos and memories, and for the first time in 2 years, David felt like they might actually become a real family again. The days following Lily's unexpected choice were like nothing David had ever experienced. For the first time in 2 years, he found himself really paying attention to what was happening in his own home. And what he saw amazed him. Every morning, he watched Maria braid Lily's hair while they practiced Spanish words together. Maria would say, "Buenos dias," and Lily would giggle and respond, "Good morning," back. Then Maria would ask about Lily's dreams from the night before, and Lily would tell her everything, the silly ones, the scary ones, and sometimes the sad ones about missing her mother. "I dreamed about Mommy again last night," Lily said one morning while Maria worked on a particularly tricky braid. "Was it a good dream or a sad dream?" Maria asked gently. "Both. She was teaching me how to ride a bike, but then I woke up and remembered she can't teach me anymore. You know what, Misha? Your mommy is still teaching you things even now." "How?" "She taught you how to be kind. She taught you how to love people. She taught you how to see good things in others. Those lessons live in your heart forever." David, listening from the hallway, felt his eyes fill with tears. He had been so focused on what Lily had lost that he had forgotten to help her see what she still carried with her. That evening, David asked Maria to stay after dinner. They sat in the living room while Lily did her homework at the kitchen table. "Maria," David began, "I owe you an apology." "For what, Mr. Chen?" "For 3 years you've been taking care of the most important person in my life, and I never really saw you. I mean, I saw that you were good at your job, but I didn't see that you were loving my daughter." Maria looked uncomfortable. "It wasn't hard to love her. She's a special little girl. But you have your own children. How does it feel to take care of someone else's child when you can't be with your own?" Maria was quiet for a long moment. "At first it was very hard. I would see Lily and think about my daughter Carmen, who is only 4 years older. I would help Lily with her homework and wonder if my son Diego was getting help with his. But then something changed." "What changed?" "I realized that love doesn't run out. Loving Lily didn't mean I loved my own children less. It just meant my heart got bigger." David felt ashamed of how little he knew about this woman who had been caring for his family. "Tell me about Carmen and Diego." Maria's face lit up. "Carmen is 12 now. She's so smart, just like Lily. She wants to be a teacher. And Diego is 10. He loves soccer and makes everyone laugh. They live with my mother in a small town in the mountains. Do they know about Lily?" "Of course. I tell them about her all the time. I show them pictures. Carmen always asks me to tell Lily hello from her. And they're okay with you being here, instead of there?" Maria's smile was sad but proud. "They understand that I'm working hard so they can have better opportunities. Carmen tells me she's proud that I'm helping another little girl, while I can't be there to help her." David felt his respect for Maria grow even deeper. "What about your husband?" "I'm not married anymore," Maria said quietly. "My husband left when the children were very young. It's just me and my mother taking care of them." "So you're supporting your children, your mother, and yourself on what I pay you?" "It's enough," Maria said, but David could tell it probably wasn't easy. Over the next few weeks, David started changing how he thought about everything. He began coming home earlier from work so he could see more of how Maria and Lily interacted. He watched Maria help Lily with math homework, patiently explaining the same problem 3 different ways until Lily understood. He saw Maria teach Lily how to fold fitted sheets and make them dance in the air before folding them neatly. He noticed how Maria always seemed to know when Lily needed a hug, even before Lily knew it herself. But David also started to worry. What would people think? His business partners, his family, his friends, they all expected him to marry someone from their social circle. Someone with education and connections and status. Someone who would look right at charity galas and business dinners. His sister Jennifer was the first person he decided to tell. "You want to marry the housekeeper?" Jennifer said. her voice high with surprise. "I want to marry the woman my daughter loves, the woman who has been taking care of our family for 3 years." David, think about this practically. What will your clients think? What about Lily's future? Shouldn't she have a stepmother who can open doors for her? Lily's future will be just fine. And anyone who has a problem with Maria isn't someone I want in my life anyway. But David, Jennifer, let me ask you something. When was the last time you saw Lily really happy? Jennifer thought about it. I don't know. It's been a long time. She's happy now, every day, because she has someone who loves her exactly as she is, not someone who wants to turn her into something else. His business partner Robert was even more direct. "You've lost your mind," he said when David told him. "You're going to marry a woman who cleans houses for a living? Think about your reputation. I'm thinking about my daughter's happiness. There are plenty of successful women who could make Lily happy and help your career at the same time. Name one. Any of those 5 women you had over for dinner. Robert, Lily met all 5 of those women. You know what she told me about them? She said they seemed more interested in what she could become than in who she already is. So what? Kids need to be pushed to reach their potential. Kids need to be loved unconditionally first. Everything else comes after that." Robert shook his head. "I hope you know what you're doing." "I do," David said. "For the first time in 2 years, I know exactly what I'm doing." The hardest conversation was with Maria herself. David had been thinking about how to bring up the subject for weeks. Finally, one evening after Lily had gone to bed, he found the courage. "Maria, can we talk about what Lily said? About wanting you to be her mother?" Maria looked nervous. "Mr. Chen, I hope you don't think I put those ideas in her head. I would never—" "I know you didn't, but I want to know how you feel about it. I love Lily like my own daughter. But I also know that's not enough." "What do you mean?" "You need someone who can fit into your world, someone who can help with your business connections, someone who knows how to act at fancy parties, someone who can give Lily opportunities I never could." David sat down across from her. "Maria, let me tell you what I've learned over the past few weeks. Lily doesn't need someone who can take her to art galleries in Paris. She needs someone who will sit with her when she has nightmares. She doesn't need someone who can get her into exclusive schools. She needs someone who will help her with her homework and make her feel smart even when she struggles. She doesn't need someone who can teach her about high society. She needs someone who will teach her about kindness and love and family." Maria's eyes filled with tears. "But what about you? Don't you want a wife who can be a partner in your business? Someone who shares your background?" "I want a wife who already loves my daughter. I want someone who makes our house feel like home. I want someone who has shown me what it means to put family first. But I'm not educated like you. I don't know about business or investments or any of those things. Do you know how to make Lily laugh when she's sad? Yes. Do you know how to make her feel safe? Yes. Do you know how to help her remember her mother without being jealous or threatened? Yes. Then you know everything that matters." Maria was crying now. "What about my children? They're still in Honduras." "We'll figure that out. Maybe they can come visit. Maybe we can help them immigrate here eventually. We'll make it work. And your friends? Your family? They'll never accept me. The people who matter will accept you because they'll see how happy you make Lily and me. The people who don't accept you aren't really my friends anyway." Maria was quiet for a long time. "Are you sure about this? Really sure?" "Maria, I've never been more sure of anything in my life. 3 months later, David and Maria were married in a small ceremony in their backyard. Lily was the flower girl, wearing a white dress with a blue sash that Maria had sewn for her. Maria's children, Carmen and Diego, were able to fly in from Honduras for the wedding, and David got to meet the kids he had heard so much about. Carmen looked just like a younger version of Maria, with the same gentle eyes and warm smile. Diego was all energy and jokes, making everyone laugh with his attempts to speak English. Within hours, he and Lily were playing together like old friends. "Are you going to be my sister now?" Carmen asked Lily during the reception. "I guess so," Lily said, a little shy. "Good. I always wanted a sister in America, and I always wanted a big sister," Lily replied. David's sister Jennifer came to the wedding along with a few close friends who had known his first wife. Some of his business associates chose not to attend, but David found he didn't care. People who mattered were there. Robert gave a speech that surprised everyone. "When David first told me about his decision, I thought he was making a mistake," he said. "But watching this family today, I realize I was wrong. David didn't just find a wife. He found someone who had already been taking care of his heart without him even knowing it." 6 months after the wedding, David came home from work to find the house full of laughter. Maria was in the kitchen teaching all 3 kids how to make pupusas, a traditional dish from Honduras. There was flour everywhere, and Carmen was trying to translate cooking instructions from Spanish to English for Lily and Diego. "Daddy," Lily called out when she saw him. "Look, Maria is teaching us how to make food from her country." "How's it going?" David asked, laughing at the mess. "Well," Maria said with a grin, "let's just say we're learning that cooking is harder than it looks." That night, after the kids were finally in bed, David and Maria sat on their back porch, looking at the stars. "Do you ever regret it?" David asked. "Marrying me instead of finding someone from your own background?" Maria took his hand. "Every morning I wake up in this house with you and Lily, and now with Carmen and Diego here for the summer, I feel like the luckiest woman in the world. Even though it's been hard, the stares we get sometimes, the comments from people who don't understand. Love is always worth fighting for," Maria said simply. "And we're not just fighting for us. We're showing our children that families come in all shapes and sizes, and that love is what makes them real." David squeezed her hand. "Lily was right, you know." "About what?" "You were already part of our family. I was just too blind to see it." Inside the house, they could hear Lily talking to Carmen in their shared room, mixing English and Spanish as they planned their activities for the next day. Diego was already asleep in what used to be the guest room, exhausted from a day of exploring his new American home. David realized that his daughter had taught him the most important lesson of his life, that the best families aren't built on money or status or social connections. They're built on love, patience, and the willingness to choose each other every single day. As they went inside to check on the children one last time before bed, David saw his family the way Lily had seen it all along, not as a broken home that needed fixing, but as a loving home that just needed to recognize the love that was already there.